All right, we are out here at the park on this beautiful day to test this Breeze 4K. This is considered the selfie drone. I picked this up from Amazon for a pretty decent price. Comes with 2 batteries. We'll cover more of that here in a little bit, but we're going to put this thing through a full flight test, full battery test. First thing we're going to do here is take it all the way up as high as it'll go. I'll go over some of the pros and cons to this as we're running this test. Again, in looking for a drone, I looked for something that was easy to use, as I've never flown one before. I looked for something that was affordable and something that wouldn't take a lot to transport around and to maintain and to keep using. I've been really happy with this. I've had this for a couple months now. I've used it for a few car shows. I've used it for some family events. I've used it for a few different things, and so far there's only a couple little issues that I've had, which I'll cover here in a little while. But yeah, it takes great video. It is a 4K camera, but I only use the 1080p stabilized mode. The 4K mode is a little choppy since it doesn't have the stabilization built into it. It's a little bit tougher to manage and to view. The camera on it is nice though. It articulates up and down, giving you a pretty good field of view. Height wise, we're up at about 185 foot at this point. Still climbing. This should get up to about 280 feet or so. It's a beautiful view around the lake here. We'll spin it around a little bit as we're climbing. So I mentioned a few of the issues that I've had with this, and we'll go ahead and get those out of the way. Every once in a while, about once out of 10. Oh, here we go. So that's the height limit is reached, 262.9 feet. So let's take it out as far as we can take it out forward from this. This is a Wi-Fi based drone, so it has to stay within Wi-Fi range of what you're using to control it, either a cell phone or tablet. So we're staying at 263 foot high. We've got a nice clear line of sight here. We shouldn't have any Wi-Fi issues. As you can see, I've got no problems taking this out over the water. Flies like a dream, no issues with it losing altitude. Starting to lose a little bit of the frames on the camera, so I think we're getting to the limit of as far as it'll go. We are at 362 foot out, or I'm sorry, 332 foot out. Go ahead and turn it around as it's starting to lose signal there, and we'll start flying it back towards us here. Camera hasn't picked back up quite yet, but it's still recording, don't worry. It's just not picking up on my phone. That's one of the things with this. Once you lose, there we go, now we're back in range. You don't lose sight of the drone, but you can lose sight of the camera on the screen itself. It's easy as long as you're watching where you're flying. So there you can see we're up. There's the car, and there's Josh and I standing down here at the bottom. So we've tested distance forward, 330 foot at 269 foot in the air. So decent range for what it is. Again, it's not meant to compete with the Mavics and the Phantoms and that sort of drone. This is designed just to stay close by and get you proximity shots. We're testing the battery life with this flight here. So far we're down to 57%, 5 minutes in. That's been my experience. I get about 10 to 12 minutes of battery life out of it. Let's go ahead and turn around here and get some shots of the lake. Let's see if we can take it out this way a little bit. But yeah, as far as this being a beginner drone, you fly it with, like I said, a cell phone or a tablet. It's just 2 little thumb joysticks on the screen. Auto takeoff, auto land, auto return to home. You can set in the settings how fast you want it to be able to go. You can set how high you want it to be able to return to home. A lot of settings you can play with just to control the way this thing behaves and the way it flies. So it really is a simple device to use. Let's drop a little height here, get some more footage. It's got several modes that come with it, several features. I'd say probably 75-80% of the time, if not more, I'm only using the pilot mode feature, which is just where you control it. You tell it whether you want to take still photos or record video. Some of the other features are pretty neat. It has sort of a follow me. It has a circle around the target type mode, and then it has a mode where it'll leave from you and come back to you in a straight line or at an angle. Pretty neat, but I haven't found any uses for them yet. Like I said, the best thing that I've done, I've used this for mostly car shows and things like that. So what I'm using it for is just to point, tell it where I want it to go, and take videos and still shots there. Josh, I want you to come over here and fly this for a few minutes before we run out of battery. So you're gonna fly, and this is how easy it is. Your joystick is here. This is forward, that's backwards. And of course, steer it left, steer it right. Gain height, lower height. So keep it at that height for right now. Go ahead and fly it around with hold on, you gotta go down to go forward. There you go. And then this down here to turn it. Yep, there you go. Now go ahead and spin it towards the water. Oh, slow down. There you go. There you go. Turn it that way. There you go. Now go ahead and go forward, back towards the water. Nope, down. There you go. See? And you can look at the drone to see where you're flying it too, Josh.
My eyes will start hurting though.
It's right here in front of you.
Oh.
Go ahead and take it forward a little bit more. And then hold the left side here and it'll spin it back to you. There you go. Now it's spinning back around. See? There you go. All right. And you can turn up and wave to it. So what do you think? Easy?
Mm-hmm.
Does that remind you of a video game controller?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's bring it forward a little bit, and there we go.
Let's get some shots of the car while we're out here. Just because I like showing off my my toys. Speed of this thing goes up to about 16 miles an hour, but like I said, you can set it to wherever you want it to be. If you're buying this for somebody younger and you want to first get them started, you can set it really slow. Make sure they don't have any incidents with it. We are at 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Still have 30% battery life here. Here's a little close-up of the car. Try and control the speed a little bit and do kind of a little rotating deal here.
I'm prepared, Jeff, for it to die.
I see. So a couple mishaps I've had with this since I got it. First couple days of flying, I ran it into my garage door. I ran it into the fence in my backyard, and I ran it into a tree at a car show. All these were, my error, not the drone's error. So going back, I know I started to talk about this a little earlier, and then we kind of got off topic, but the few issues that I've had with the drone itself. About 1 out of every 10 flights, I'll get it up in the air and the controls won't function correctly. What'll end up happening is it'll either not give me the ability to control it forward, backwards, left or right, or it'll just get a mind of its own and start taking off to one side or the other. Usually you can catch it pretty quick and just land it. I've never had a problem with it not landing. So I've always just landed it, turned it off, reset it, and put it back up in the air, and it's worked just fine. So really, it's an inconvenience, but as long as you're in a decent enough area, it's no issues. Like I said, it's kind of been a headache for me more so than anything going to some of the car shows and car events that I go to. You're kind of nervous about taking it over somebody's car if it's having those kind of issues, because you don't want it to mess up and run into something that it shouldn't be. But again, like I said, I've never crashed it because of the drone itself. The only instance I've had with crashing it have been my fault. So we are at 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Battery's telling me it's got 15% left. So I'm going to let it hover around here, and what we'll do is a test to see what happens when the battery dies. I'm going to put it right up here above me. Spin it in circles a little bit. Push it away. Just try and run the battery down a little bit. We're over the sidewalk here, so it's telling me low voltage and saying it wants to land. It's at 4%, and here it comes. Coming straight down to the ground now. It does give you plenty of warnings. It started warning me at about 15%. We're going to go ahead and stop this recording here, and then I'll pick it back up in just a few minutes after we change out the battery. Alright, we got the battery changed out. We're going to get this back up in the air and get a little more footage in before I go back home and edit all this together, and hopefully have something nice to put up shortly.
Can I fly this one?
Yep, hang on. Getting it reconnected now. And we're back in the air, back taking off now. Let's get this thing back up. No problem with this flight. Let's get a little height here. I'm gonna walk down the road a little bit, get some shots kind of by the lake here. It's a little warm out today.
Yeah, my feet are starting to burn up.
But it's nice. Alright, so we'll slowly bring this forward. Good thing about the controls is it's exactly like a joystick. The farther you push, the faster it goes in whatever direction you're looking to go. So you can kind of get a feel for barely tapping down, and it'll go much slower than if you've got it full on. It's really easy to get good shots, get good footage with this thing. It's relatively quiet. I mean, you can hear it. It's not as loud as some of the drones I've heard. It's not as loud as some of the cheap toy grade stuff. But it's definitely quiet for the size. Like I said, video and picture quality wise, it's really good. I've got no complaints whatsoever with the quality of. Yeah, it doesn't do 4K. Well, it does 4K video really well if it's stationary. So if you put it up and you're filming stuff in one location underneath of it, 4K does all right. It's still a little bouncy, but in a pinch it'll do all right. All right, so it's telling me it won't go in this current direction anymore. It says I'm 325 foot from where it took off. That's one other thing that's kind of a drawback to it. It hits that geofence despite me standing underneath of it. So there may be a way I gotta figure out if I can actually change that somehow. Not a huge complaint. Gives you still a pretty wide range to use it. All right. So here we've got a drone so easy an 11-year-old can fly it. Who's never even seen it before.
I have.
Well, never seen the controls on it before. Turn it towards me. See if I can get it in the frame here. I think I can barely make it out on the camera. It's not far from us. Fly in close so I can get you on the camera with it. Here we go. Keep coming. Come forward. There it is. Perfect. Let's see if we can see what you're looking at on the screen here. Yeah, it's not showing up too well. It's a little too bright for that. All right, so your camera is facing that way. So if you want to go back towards up, turn it. There you go. Keep turning. Turn. Turn. Hold it. Hold the button. There you go.
They're giving it more altitude.
Yeah, because there's some trees and stuff down here. So. All right, there you go. Yeah, keep it out here.
Can it be maked out on the camera?
Yeah, I can see it on the camera.
Let me bring it in a little closer. Now, can it be really made out on the camera?
Yeah, I mean you can see it. It's a little bit of a speck, but it's there.
It would be mainly you would be able to see it if you were to.
All right, easy. You're flying sideways towards the thing there. There you go. Now pull down to go forward. There you go.
Flying out to the water.
So what do you think though?
I love this thing. We're 2 minutes in and we have 52%.
Yeah, but the first 5 minutes of that flight wasn't recording, so
Yeah.
it's still right on for the battery life.
I'm 310 feet out.
All right, switch back with me here.
Yep.
I'm gonna stop